Republicans are trying to convince everyone that they are more united now than they have ever been, but that's just simply not true. Because we now have breaking news from the Republican National Convention. Matt Gaetz got into a childish altercation with Kevin McCarthy. And this really just goes to show you how low the Republicans are willing to go. Now before I show you that clip, because it is quite insane, I'm gonna bring you up to speed with the drama between Kevin McCarthy and Matt Gaetz. Now it all starts back when Kevin McCarthy was trying to become the House Speaker. Matt Gaetz was opposed to him becoming Speaker because he thought that he was not conservative enough and wanted more extreme policies. Because as we know, Matt Gaetz is a very extreme kind of person. And as we know, Kevin McCarthy was the House Speaker, so that vote did in fact pass. But in October of 2023, Matt Gaetz actually motioned to vacate the Speaker. And this of course led to the historic vote that ousted McCarthy from the House Speakership. And arguably, this is where things really started to get heated between the two, because before maybe they could tolerate each other, but just didn't like each other, right? But now it really seems like Kevin McCarthy was being attacked directly and targeted by Matt Gaetz. And then a month later, Kevin McCarthy comes out and accuses Matt Gaetz, saying, hey, you only ousted me as Speaker because you wanted to stop the investigations that we had going into you. Because you'll have to remember that Matt Gaetz was being investigated for sexual misconduct with a minor. And McCarthy was like, yeah, the reason you ousted me was because you didn't want me to continue looking into this because you were afraid of what I was gonna find. And then a month after that, McCarthy and his allies specifically go after Matt Gaetz with the findings that they found in the House Ethics Report. And they allege that Matt Gaetz engaged in misconduct, including sexual contact with minors and drug use. Although of course, Matt Gaetz denies these allegations. And as of right now, there are no criminal charges being brought by the DOJ. And then just a couple months ago, McCarthy comes out and endorses Matt Gaetz's primary challenger, because now Kevin McCarthy is trying to oust Matt Gaetz from his seat in Congress. And of course, Matt Gaetz fires back on all this, and it just continues the drama between them.
When you become Speaker, a lot of people won't know all the different rules. After 9/11, they created a system where you put names on a list if a case that you were no longer Speaker for somebody to carry out that role until you elect a new Speaker. It's about the continuity of government. I always believed the names I was putting on the list could carry out and keep government running until you elect a new Speaker. There is a question McGovern ran down to try to make a legal question. Some people legally say McHenry has that power, and some will say doesn't have all the power. So there was a debate in there, should we allow McHenry to have that power so we can deal with Israel and others and keep things working? I know the Democrats tried to make some legal thing against it, and that's the discussion we're having in there.
Can you explain specifically what happened with Matt Gaetz? Did you yell at him?
No. I was at the mic, I was speaking, and Matt Gaetz tried to interrupt, and so I told him to sit down, and he sat down.
What's your view on him?
No, I told him to sit down. I think the entire conference screamed at me. People are, listen, the whole country, I think, would scream at Matt Gaetz right now. Remember, it was a crazy eights led by Matt Gaetz and every single Democrat that put us into this situation. We've never been in this situation before, but how do you have 4% of your conference remove a speaker when 96% are there? This is why we're here. He had no plan afterwards. Now we have Israel at a war, questions whether Congress can act, questions where we'd be able to go to select a new speaker. I mean, it's a difficult situation driven by one person for his own personal beliefs, his own animosity towards me, and his concern about what's inside an ethics complaint that was filed before I was even Speaker.
So now that we've been caught up with all of their drama, let's go ahead and take a look at that new breaking news clip. Now there are two angles of this clip that I'm going to show you. The first is of Matt Gaetz from the crowd, and the second one is of McCarthy from the news, because during this he was on an interview. So let's go ahead and take a look at those clips.
Speaking. What night are you speaking? Are you speaking tonight? Or one person? No. Hey, you're not. If you took that stage, you would get booed off of it. You would get booed off the stage. You would get booed off the stage.
Shut up, Gaetz. Hey, don't be an asshole.
Dude, I don't even know who you are.
It doesn't fucking matter what. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, I'm just standing here.
One who's not coming back, and then the other part that you have, and the other part you have is one person who raised the issue. He's got an ethics complaint about sleeping with a 17-year-old. So that's the way they would go. So that's the biggest challenge we have.
So as you could see, they were both pretty brutal, which really just goes to show you how much of a hatred they have for each other. Matt Gaetz pretty much just calls Kevin McCarthy unpopular, while Kevin McCarthy slaps back with saying, yeah, well, you slept with a minor. I think it's safe to assume who won the altercation, but even the guy at the end was like, bro, don't be a jerk to Matt Gaetz, because this was a completely unwarranted attack by Matt Gaetz. It's ultimately just sad that the Republican Party has these people who are just willing to attack each other and not work together at all. I mean, I guess there are worse things about the Republican Party, Matt Gaetz being one of them, but it really just goes to show you how in shambles the Republican Party has become over the years. And even though they're constantly trying to say, oh, we're the united Republican Party, we're all under one roof, they are really not. And this just really goes to show you that they are not as united as they want you to think that they are.